Hey everybody, Coach Sean, the Rip Grandpa, and after 22 years of being in this industry, taking my body fat levels to sub 6% more than a half a dozen times to get ready for a photo shoot. When I make a list of all the things necessary for me to get in front of that camera to show off my six pack, the very last thing on the list is my ab routine. Now, don't misunderstand me. I think it is necessary to train your stomach region, and at the end of this video, I'm going to share how to develop all three regions of your abdominals, but you'll never see your abs if you don't understand the first couple things that I have on this list. And there's three things in particular you need to know. And when you have all three of these things, you create something that I call synergy. And when you create this synergy, this is what's going to allow you to see your abs as fast as possible. So you'll notice the title of this video is See Your Abs in 2 Weeks. And in order for that to happen, you have to have one thing: low enough body fat. See, thousands of reps in your abs are only going to do one thing. They're going to develop your stomach region. They're going to develop your abdominal muscles that are hiding underneath the goo that you want to burn off. But when you create synergy and you learn how to target the fat in your abdominal region through that synergy, and you get your body fat levels low enough, this is how you're going to be able to see your abs. So what is synergy? It requires three things. Number one, a calorie deficit. Number two, high enough protein intake. And number three is strategic exercise. So let's quickly tell you how to incorporate all three. So the number one hard and fast rule to create synergy, to start melting off stomach fat so that you can see your abs, is to create a calorie deficit at least 5 or 6 days every single week by burning off more calories than you consume. Now, this is the number one hard and fast rule of any weight loss plan. Believe it or not, there are no magic diets, and all we have to do is look at three unhealthy examples of three guys who did three different diets and lost all kinds of weight by eating nothing but crap. The first one was the Twinkie diet, where the guy ate nothing but Twinkies. The second one was called the convenience store diet, where the guy ate nothing but convenience store processed crap. And the third one was the McDonald's diet, where the guy ate nothing but McDonald's. All three of these guys lost all kinds of weight for one reason: they kept their body in a calorie deficit. They burned off more of that crap than they took in on a daily basis, proving once and for all that in order to lose weight, we're not talking about a health perspective here, we're just talking straight up about losing belly fat and losing weight, you must burn off more than you take in. So how do you do this? I want you to go to tdee.net. I'll put it up here on the screen, and I'll show you some screenshots of me figuring out my daily maintenance calories. So you see here on the screen that I entered in all my information, and I selected that I'm a light exerciser. Now, I'm exercising typically 7 days per week. So if that's you, you're going to want to select a light exerciser. Now, if you're exercising 3 or 4 or 5 days a week, select the sedentary option. This is super important because I've messed with this calculator many times. This is what's going to give you an accurate assessment. Now, for your body fat percentage, just leave that blank because you probably have no clue what your body fat is. Even when I have six-pack abs, if the body fat machine says I'm 7%, I might be like 12%. Who knows? So just leave that blank and then go ahead and do your calculations. On the very next screen, you'll see here, I'll show it up on the screen as well. You're going to see my daily maintenance calories, and it's going to be your daily maintenance calories. Now, I subtract 500 from this number, so do the same thing, and that is the daily amount of calories you should shoot for on a daily basis. Now, you do not have to be exact. Another way to do this is to take 10 times your ideal body weight. Your ideal body weight. So if you're a female, you weigh 150 pounds, but your goal is you want to weigh 120, take 10 times that. That's 1,200. So that's 1,200 calories per day. That should be your starting point to lose stubborn fat. So take that maintenance calories from tdee.net, subtract 500, or just take 10 times your ideal body weight. This is the number I want you to play with on a daily basis for a week or two. You can make adjustments up or downward after your results, but this will typically end up finding you a sweet spot that you can hit on a daily basis. And it's not that hard to track your calories. And I'm going to show you exactly how one macronutrient that I'm going to share next, which is step number 2 to create synergy to see your abs. This one macronutrient literally is all you have to track, and then you can let the other calories just fill in the missing gaps and not even worry about it. Okay, so now that you've figured out where your daily calorie level should be to lose fat, now we have to fill in these calories using one essential and often overlooked, under-eaten, and underutilized macronutrient, the king of all macros, and that is protein. Protein is the only macronutrient that's going to keep your metabolism elevated while dieting. One of the number one side effects of being in a calorie deficit and dieting is metabolic slowdown. Your metabolic rate slows down. Just the very act of consuming protein increases your metabolic rate through something called DIT, diet-induced thermogenesis. In other words, protein has the highest thermic effect of any macro. So just the very act of your body digesting protein burns 3 times the calories as when you digest carbs and fats. So protein, just the act of eating it while dieting, it actually increases your metabolic rate. Not only that, it prevents muscle loss. One of the number one side effects of dieting outside of metabolic slowdown is muscle loss, or something called sarcopenia. And protein prevents sarcopenia. It also increases muscle protein synthesis while you sleep. In other words, it increases your muscle growth. Remember, muscle loss is one of the number one side effects. So not only will it prevent muscle loss, it will actually promote muscle growth while dieting. And people who eat protein before bed, research shows they wake up with more stabilized blood sugar, they build more muscle at night, and they have a better appetite the next day. Protein helps you control something called PYY, and this regulates your ghrelin levels, your hunger hormone. So by eating protein in every single meal, you keep ghrelin, your hunger hormone, at bay, so it eliminates hunger and craving. So now you can see how all these things are stacking up. So take 1 gram per pound of your ideal body weight. Again, going back to that female who weighed 150 but wanted to weigh 120, you should be getting 120 grams minimum of protein every single day. I'll use myself as an example for a man. I weigh 185 to 190 pounds depending on the time of the day on a daily basis. That is my sweet spot. So I always make sure to get a minimum of 190 grams of protein per day. I always usually hit 200 or higher, and sometimes I'll land around 250. Sometimes I'll be at 275 grams. As long as I'm hitting that 190 grams or more, I know I can get all the benefits. I can increase my metabolism. I can prevent muscle loss. I can promote muscle gains. I can prevent hunger and cravings, right? And I can keep ghrelin at bay. You can do the same thing too. So do not underestimate the power of protein. It is the king of all macros. And if you simply focus on a calorie deficit and you focus on your protein intake like this, you just let carbs and fats fill in the missing gaps and you stay within that calorie range that I just shared with you, you are on your way to seeing your abs. So the third and final strategy to complete the synergy triangle for you to see your abs is going to be exercise. But I'm not talking about just any type of exercise. I'm talking about weight training. Now, most people will just go to cardio as much as they can when they're trying to lose belly fat. They think more cardio is the answer. We've been brainwashed into believing this for years and years. I do not know why, but cardio really is not even necessary if you have a calorie deficit in place, you're getting enough protein, and you weight train. But let's just talk about why cardio can be dangerous if you're in your 40s, 50s, and 60s. I'm not saying don't do cardio. I'm just saying be careful because more is not better. Research shows that marathon runners and triathletes have low thyroid hormones. Their body has a very difficult time converting T4 into T3. This is the active form of thyroid hormones that your body's cells can receive and use. And the thyroid gland controls the speed of your metabolism and it actually regulates your body weight. Now, these runners also increase their cortisol. They have elevated cortisol levels, which is your stress hormone, also known as a belly fat hormone. They also increase free radicals, which create inflammation. And they also have been shown to damage their heart over time, lower their testosterone, and research shows it can even increase your hunger and cravings. Instead, you're much better off using a strategy like weight training, because the second you turn 40 years old, your hormones decline and sarcopenia that we talked about earlier, that muscle loss starts kicking in. And if you're just like a pear or an apple-shaped body, and all you do is eat right, you do the calorie deficit and the protein that I just talked about, and then you replace all your exercise with all this cardio. Now you just become a smaller pear apple and you become skinny fat. But if you weight train, when you burn off the goop using the strategies that I just shared with you, now you become a leaner, toner, sculptor, healthier, sexier version of yourself. And not only that, cardio only increases your metabolism for about an hour after you're done. 1 hour after you do a 10-mile run, for example, your metabolism is back to baseline or normal, but it takes 38 to 48 hours after a weight training session before your metabolism slows down. Not only that, this muscle that you're building, it's gonna burn more calories while you're sitting at your desk, while you're watching TV, and while you are sleeping. A much more powerful and profound effect on your fat loss and your metabolism than chronic cardio. So limit your cardio just a couple times per week and replace all those chronic cardio sessions with weight training. And now you've created the 3 pieces that will allow you to see your abs. keeping your body in a calorie deficit, keeping protein intake high enough, and exercising, especially using weight training. Now that we've talked about how to see your abs through this process, let's talk about how to actually work your stomach muscles so that when you do burn off that goo, you have something lean, toned, and sculpted in your abdominal region to show for it. Okay, so now that you understand how to create that synergy to get your body fat low enough to see your abs, I wanted to jump here on the whiteboard and talk about how to actually create ab and stomach definition. You see, if you bust your butt and you get your body fat levels low enough, then yes, you have to have some abdominal region development. So I want to talk about how to do that along with an advanced strategy over here called the stubborn fat protocol. Using this protocol, you can legitimately target fat in the abdominal and belly region if your body fat is low enough through that synergy that I just talked about. Now, if you'd like a daily blueprint that will show you exactly how to create this synergy on a daily basis using a sustainable way that doesn't eliminate entire food groups or make you go on some type of crash diet, there's a link below in the description to my over 40 hormone reset diet. You see, it's one thing to get lean and to get in shape. It's another thing to stay there. And that's exactly what my hormone reset diet is designed to do. Link in description, click that, you won't regret it. Now, let's talk about developing that abdominal region. So we have 4 different regions of your abs. Now, most people will talk about upper, lower, and obliques. So you actually have upper abs, and they actually run right down almost to your belly button. You have a lower abdominal region that runs along your pelvis. You have lower obliques and upper obliques. And then you have a 4th region called the transverse abdominis, or also known as the inner abs. And what you want to do is you want to train all 4 of these regions. So on our channel, we have all kinds of exercise videos that will teach you how to target each one of these areas with exercise. But for this video, I want to just stick with how to train them. Because most people think that more reps means more ab definition. This is completely a myth. Again, it goes back to synergy that we talked about. With that being said, you still want to develop each region of your abs, and this is also going to help with things like lower back pain and posture over the years, right? But understanding you need to treat them just like any other muscle group, okay? So you're going to train them 2 to 3 times per week. You need to train them just like any other body part. So your number of reps, you should have 8 to 12 rep sets in at least one workout. These would be filed under something called hypertrophy, where you're actually developing muscle tissue in this area so that those abs pop out more. And if you're a female, you're gonna have more definition by using that 8 to 12 rep range. But you also wanna train both slow twitch and fast twitch muscle fibers. So you also wanna do some reps in the 15 to 20 range. So by doing a variety of reps, and then as far as your sets go, if you're a beginner or intermediate, just like any other body part, you're gonna do about 12 sets per week. If you're more advanced like I am, and you've been doing this for years, you're gonna train all the way up to 20 sets per body part. Now, I'm not talking about 20 sets for each one of these areas, I'm talking about 20 sets total. And it's as simple as this. Schedule 2 or 3 days per week where you pick one exercise from each of these. You're gonna do about 2 to 3 sets each, and you're gonna stay between that 8 and 12 rep range on one workout. And then on another day, keep your reps a little bit higher, 15 to 20 reps. Over time, this is really gonna help you see more stomach definition. Now, let's talk about the final strategy, and that is the stubborn fat protocol. All right, so the last part of this video you're gonna wanna pay close attention to, and it's my 3-step stubborn fat protocol. Now this will only work, again, if you created that synergy to get your body fat levels low enough. So if you're a man and you have 15% body fat or lower, and you're a female and you have 20% body fat or lower, congratulations, you're probably starting to see stomach definition. And if that's the case and you don't know what your body fat levels are, if you start seeing upper stomach definition and your abdominal is starting to show in this upper region, you're probably somewhere in that range, and that's when this is gonna work best. So step 1 is to lower insulin, step 2 is to create blood flow, and step 3 is to release fight or flight hormones. So let's quickly talk about how you can do this once you get your body fat levels low enough. Same technique I've used for years to get ready for photo shoots after I create that synergy that we've been talking about. So in the presence of insulin, research shows that even the tiniest bit of insulin can block your body from releasing stubborn fat cells. So anytime that you eat, you increase insulin. So step 1 to lower insulin is to simply exercise in a fasted state. So either in the morning when you wake up on an empty stomach, in the middle or at the end of an intermittent fasting window, or 4 hours after a meal when you've allowed insulin to stabilize. Now your body is primed to release stubborn fat cells into your bloodstream where they can be used as fuel source. So that's the first step. Stabilize insulin by working out in a fasted state. Step number 2, create blood flow. So again, we're gonna go back to upper, lower, obliques, and inner abs. Wanna do a workout using all 4 of these regions and creating massive blood flow in the stomach area. See, research actually shows, there's 2 different published studies that show this, that fat burning is higher in adjacent pockets of fat next to contracting muscles that have blood flow. So if you do an abdominal workout in a fasted state when insulin is low and you create massive blood flow in this area, you've created the perfect storm to target stubborn fat, but you must finish it off by doing step 3, which is releasing fight or flight hormones. And see, that fasted state now is going to increase your body's sympathetic nervous system. So by doing some type of high intensity bodyweight training or some type of high intensity interval training in that fasted state, after you've created this blood flow, it's going to coax your pituitary to release growth hormone and your adrenal glands to release hormones called catecholamines. These hormones have been shown in scientific research to release fatty acids from stubborn fat cells into the bloodstream where they can be burned off and used as energy. This is the stubborn fat protocol. Now, if you want to make sure that if you have time, and after you do this 15 to 20 minute high intensity interval training workout, whether it's body weight circuits or it's cardio circuits, you want to make sure if you have time to walk briskly or do some type of low to medium intensity cardio afterwards. Because now that you have insulin low, you created massive blood flow, and you released all these fight or flight hormones, you have massive amounts of fatty acids floating around in your bloodstream afterwards. Well, if you have time and you can do that cardio, it's going to help burn them off to further help accelerate your fat loss in the abdominal region. Now, hopefully you got something out of this video. If you did, do me a favor, click that like button. It really helps the algorithm. Questions, drop comments. That also helps us spread the word on these amazing videos. And then lastly, up here in the corner, you're gonna see a video on a crash course on how to experience serious weight loss with intermittent fasting. Check it out. Thanks for watching and keep going strong.